Oh, hi, Jack. Yes, I'm just getting started. Today we're going to talk about collecting Chinese firecracker labels. Okay, I hope you like the video. I'm always buying and collecting and trading firecracker labels, and sometimes I get calls by other collectors or newcomers, and they say, well, how do we get into the hobby? Well, of course, you can buy one of our beginner sets, so that's an easy way to get into the hobby. But going to antique shows and shows that sell paper and other ephemeral materials, if you look in the newspaper under the antique sections, you'll see this sometimes, or you can call up an antique shop that specializes in ephemera, disposable type paper material, and they're very hard to find. You can find them in old scrapbooks. I'm always looking for a label that I don't have in the museum collection. If you stumble upon something that looks interesting or odd to you, please give me a call, as I will trade you some very rare material for it. I'm always looking for something unique for the museum. We're going to show you some different examples of some of the labels that are in the collection. One of my favorites is this Pagoda brand, and this is from the Peking Fireworks Company of Astoria, Oregon. This is from 1925, between 1925 and 1928. Pagoda brand. The Peking Fireworks Company was an importer of firecrackers, run by the Koe brothers, Chinese family, and they imported some of the most beautiful firecracker labels ever seen. They were the original importers of TNT brand. I'm holding an Alligator brand label from the Guanghing Tai Company. Alligator was one of the most popular brands for many, many years in the United States. This particular label came off the outside of a case or a giant bundle of firecrackers. The evolution of the artwork changed from year to year, and slight deviations in the art have become desirable things for collectors to look for, and they're much sought after. Globe brand is another much sought after firecracker label. It's a brand of firecrackers from Australia, from down under. This is a brick label and some pack labels of Globe brand. On the next page, I'm going to show you some very interesting labels. Tiger brand is one of the more common labels, and many collectors have examples of Tiger brand. It's an early label from the mid-30s. But what's interesting about this particular label is that there was a very rare version of it produced for a very short time. If you look at this other example on my right, Tiger brand, just like the one right next to it, but notice the tiger cubs. It's the only example of a label like this I have ever seen. Very, very rare and much sought after. Exported to the United States by the Sherwin-Williams Company, again by Ki Chong Han, the famous Hong Kong exporter. Tiger brand, a very common Tiger brand label and a very rare Tiger brand label. These are some examples of Chinese firecracker wrappers and labels that went on bundles and individual packs. And some of you have been confused in firecracker label collecting, and the reason is this, that some of the labels that came into the United States, rather that were imported into the United States, were not necessarily imported for the celebration of 4th of July. Many of the firecracker brands that came into the United States were imported for the celebration of Chinese New Year's and other Chinese holidays. That's why they didn't cater so much to the American themes. And as an example of that are these labels right here. These labels were imported to the United States for the celebration of Chinese New Year. Here are other examples of Chinese firecracker labels. These are hexagon labels, and these labels were used for the pogoi, or the large bundle of firecrackers at the end of a celebration string of firecrackers. And these were typical of ceremonial celebration crackers. The Chinatowns throughout the United States used to hang these types of firecracker packages from buildings or suspend them from bamboo poles and hang them off the porches. And these labels are representation of some of the hexagon labels from that time. Aside from collecting firecracker labels, there are many collectors that like to collect the actual firecrackers with the various wraps. They call them logo crackers. Here's an example of a paper that I found in an old factory that shows the shell wrap from Big Boy brand firecrackers and some fancy wrap with a star pattern on it. As you know, there are many different shell wraps with both logos and with fancy paper. This particular paper was found along with some various labels attached to it with instructions as to which logo should go on which packages. I'm turning it over right now to show you some of the brands. Great Wall brand is on this side. And on the other side I showed you Big Boy brand. And one of the most interesting ones that I've ever seen is this particular brand here. It says All Go Off with a Bang brand. If any of you out there have any information on this particular firecracker brand, I would like to hear from you. All Go Off with a Bang brand.